Hi everyone, my name is Ani Nazmi and today we're going to try out our second project. This is the fourth video out of all the 5 video series on coding with Codewiz and Coding School 3 platform. And today we are going to start with our second project, which is a NeoPixel party glasses. You might have tried out a few of the activities in the first video, which involves activating this 5 NeoPixel LED at the front of your Codewiz. You might have written a code which requires you to click this button, one of the button sensor at the front, and the 5 NeoPixel LED will light up in red color or green color. So you might have tried it out. But today we are going to extend this 5 NeoPixel into 32 NeoPixel. If you have seen here, I have attached this 4-pin cable to my Codewiz, and this will allow us to again extend the functionality of our Codewiz with more than just the sensors and the outputs that is already built on the Codewiz. Next, over here I have the cutout for something that looks like, of course, it looks like a glasses because our project today is to make party glasses. So as you can see here, this has already been attached. Unfortunately, I was not able to remove these LEDs from the glasses, so you might just have to look at it this way. So these are ring NeoPixel. Each of these ring consists of 16 LEDs, and over at the top you can see there are tiny little pins there. So these were what we use to connect our ring NeoPixel to each other as well as to our Codewiz. Alright, so the first thing I will want to do is to identify which type of cable goes in which pin. There are 4 cables here but only 3 pins, so we will want to attach the black cable to the ground, okay, to the ground pin, and then the red cable, which is called an 18 cable, I think, goes next to it, which is called a VCC pin, and then finally the white one, we're going to connect it next to it, to the last pin. Alright, so if you're assembling your own, make sure you are connecting the cables from the Codewiz to the ring NeoPixel in the ones in the set of pins labeled as in, while the jumper cable over here is actually connected to the out set of pin, but then goes all the way around to an in set of pin on the other ring NeoPixel. What this actually does is that the Codewiz will be able to again take input, and then it is going to send a signal in a form of output all the way to the ring NeoPixel LED, and we are going to write codes for it so that the ring NeoPixel light up in colors that we want. By the end of this script, we would want our Codewiz to be able to take our touch input using the button sensor and the touch sensor to be able to send signals based on our input to the ring NeoPixel LED to light up the color that we want, so we can have a very funky looking glass. As usual, we are going to connect our Codewiz with our USB cable so you can communicate with the computer. Once you have your Codewiz app, make sure you connect your Codewiz to the Coding School 3 program, and that's done here. Right. And once again, if you just came by from the third video, you realize that we have to inform our Coding School platform that we have added additional peripherals to our Codewiz. So by default, if you look at the code blocks under Codewiz, there is only the NeoPixel code block here, but this is referring to only the 5 NeoPixel already pre-built on it. So what would you want to do is click on EXT menu, and over the top choose Codewiz, Wiz display, and then add Wiz NeoPixel. So you want to add this one. So if you've done this correctly, you realize that in addition to our Codewiz code block set, we also now have Wiz NeoPixel code blocks. Now let's start to build up our code together. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is to first initiate our NeoPixels. So the first thing that you would want to do from our script is to add the Codewiz program block, followed by 18 initiate NeoPixel LED count. So by default, this number is set to 16. We want to put it on our blank page and add it to 32. Afterwards, we would want to take scan set NeoPixel brightness, which by default is set to 60, but we want to change it to 20. And then scan clear NeoPixel all. Afterwards, at the bottom here, we are going to go to our variable. Alright, we're going to create a new variable here, and we're going to name it NUM_RGB. And you'll see here that the code blocks have changed to what we've written. And then we're going to attach the first code block that appears here, which is set num_RGB to 0. So this is the first part of our party glasses script. And now we are going to start. So once again, we're going to go to control, choose forever. So we want to put forever right under the set num RGB, and then we are going to choose one of these blocks, the if block. Previously we worked with if then else, but for this case we will want to have a condition met, basically an input, and then immediately write out an output. So for the first if block, we are going to fit in read switch left button. Put it in the hexagonal space there. What this does is that the Codewiz will read this script as if the left button on our sensor board is pressed, then I would like my ring NeoPixel to all light up in red color. There you have it. We want to add one more, so let's try another if code block. Attaching right underneath, we are going to repeat the whole process, but this time we want to read switch right button. So this time around we want it to we want the condition to be if I press the right button on my Codewiz sensor board, I would like all the NeoPixel to stop lighting up. So we'll pick scan clear NeoPixel all. So all the NeoPixel will now be cleared. So in other words, there won't be any more colors, they all will just switch off. Okay. You can attach this with under your forever code block, and you can just try it out first. If you have your Codewiz connected to your ring light, so there you go. If when I press the left button, all the NeoPixel LEDs will light up red, but when I press the left button, the color will be all clear. Okay, so what about if you want to try something a little bit more fun? So I'm going to find another code block that says if, and this time we would want it to say read touch IO32. Okay, so what does this mean? Okay, previously we used read switch left button. So when we say read switch left button, it means clicking the left button on our Codewiz. If it's read switch right button, it means the right button on our code switch. But for read touch is for all the touch sensors here. I think I mentioned that in our first video. So if you turn your Codewiz around, you realize that for each of the holes there is an indication of a code. So for example, this one here says IO13. So what would you want to do is that for your code, you want if read touch, change this IO32 to IO13, which means that if that hole just now labeled as IO13 is touch, then I would want to have my NeoPixel scan set NeoPixel all, but with red, green, blue value. For what I know about RGB is that if you combine two of this color, for example red and green, you'll be able to change the color to a hue of yellow, and if you add in green and blue, it will become another color. For our demonstration here, I'm just going to set it all as red 0, meaning I don't want any hint of red at all. I want to set blue as 0 as well, and then I want to add green as a value of 255. So basically what that will do is that when I press the IO13, there you go. When I press IO13 on my Codewiz board, all the LED will light up in green color. But when understanding red, green and blue, the RGB color setting, you have to understand that the maximum value here is 255. So let's say if you want red and green to light up just as much at the same time, you have to set red as 255, green as 255 as well. Okay, so what about if we want to start up from the first and then the light just lights up all around? So this takes a little bit of a more complicated code script, but again we are going to select if, and considering we already used read touch IO13 and the left and right button, so this time around we're going to select read touch and change it to IO14. First of all, I'm going to set as con clear NeoPixel all, because what I want to do is that I want when IO14 is pressed, any whatsoever color that is switched on my ring NeoPixel will just go off first. And then I am going to set this repeat 10 code block and change the value to 32. What does that 32 means instead of 10? It means that I want whatever code in the middle here to be repeated 32 times. And then inside the repeat 32, I am going to add variable. I want the second code block, which is change num RGB by 1. And then I would like to select scon set NeoPixel. I mean by default the number there is 1, color red. But I'm going back to the variable and choose num RGB in place of that value of 1. Okay, once that's done, I am going to set back the num RGB to 0 and add it all the way at the bottom. So make sure that if you're connecting this code, it's all within the if code block. So the if code block is actually the first initial input. So the first initial input is read touch IO14. So as long as you touch it, basically all the codes in it will run. What does that mean by change num RGB by 1? It means that by default the RGB value is all set to 0, but by clicking the read touch IO14, what the script that I want to run is to change the variable by a value of 1 and then light it up to red. And then because this is in repeat, so I want it to go back to change num RGB, but this time again changed by 1, it means now it's by 2, and then set it to red. So what is going to happen with our RGB? Okay, so we have IO14 underneath IO13. So what happened when I press IO14 is that, okay, you might not be able to see it, but basically what happened is that rather than lighting it all up at once, you actually see a flicker, but that means that the light, the RGB light or the ring NeoPixel light was lit up in a sequence. But I'm not too sure why it went really fast. Just now it was an okay speed. So finally, once you're done with this code, you can pause this video here. Of course, you can see at the back of your Codewiz there is still a lot of touch sensor. In fact, we only use 2. So there is still about 6 more touch sensors. So feel free to repeat back the code. You can just keep repeating the if read touch IO, change the scon set NeoPixel all color to whatever color that you want. So you'll be able to press any of those touch sensors and the ring NeoPixel on your party glass will light up in that color. Of course, once you are happy with your code, turn on edit and go to Arduino mode on, and over on the right side, upload the script into our Codewiz. So what does this mean is that just like our previous project, we don't want our glasses to constantly be tethered to our computer. So what is going to happen here is that once the upload process is complete, I am able to disconnect my Codewiz from my computer, and in place of the power supplied by the USB, I am going to add in my battery case. So I will be able to carry my party glasses all around. Okay, so that's it for the 4th project for our 5 series video. We still have one more project to check out, but this has been really fun and I hope you go around the code, tweak it around and just make your own party glasses. Because at the end of the day, the true party lies in you. I'm not sure what that means, but I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.